What's going on, everyone? Sight here, and today we're talking about Pokemon again. Now, growing up with Pokemon when the games were just coming out was truly a fun time for me, as I played each game that came out year after year. I really got immersed in the world and enjoyed all the catching and battling that one would do. The one thing I truly enjoyed was the gym, Elite Four, and champion battles. Now, going up against the best trainers in the region with the Pokemon you personally train, testing your knowledge and winning against the whole league after a fierce fighting and journey was a level of dopamine that little Sight was loving. But as I've obviously grown up and played more RPGs and have a better understanding of game mechanics and battle systems, the one thing that I come to sadly notice is that Pokemon gyms aren't fun anymore, at least in regards to the actual Pokemon gyms you face in the video games, and not in the anime. I know some of you are gasping at the thought of Pokemon gym battles not actually being fun anymore, but bear with me and listen. Pokemon gyms, and by extension the Elite Four, have been the same type of formula for over 20 years now, and I think I got into the point that I just don't care about them as much as I did before. You go up against a gym leader or Elite Four member specializing in one specific type, beat them, and then go fight the champion of the region who fights you with an actual unique team. It's been that way since Pokemon Red and Blue all the way up to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and I'm surprised most of you aren't actually tired of it, honestly. Going up against someone specializing in one type was a pretty cool idea back in the day, and I would get excited by who was the next water specialist of the new region, or finally getting a dark type gym leader after years of not having one. Shout out my boy Piers. I'm sure your singing voice is great, if only GameFreak had the budget to cast voice actors so we can actually hear it. But anyway, like I said earlier, we've been doing this for 20 years and at this point it's pretty boring and stale. Let me give you an example. We have had a fire type specialist in every mainline game, every last one of them. Blaine from Gens 1 and 2, Flannery in Gen 3, Flint in Gen 4, Chili in Gen 5, Malva in Gen 6, Kiwawi in Gen 7, Kabu in Gen 8, and the latest one being Mela in Gen 9. And we can also include Crispin from the DLC as well. I think after Gen 5 is when I kind of started to feel fatigue a bit after the thought of going against another fire type specialist in the next game, but it really wasn't until Mela in Gen 9 where I was completely over type specialists as a whole. They're just boring to fight against. Now as you can completely curb stop them because you've already prepared 2 or 3 Pokemon specifically to destroy them. Hell, you can get away with using one Pokemon honestly at this point, since Pokemon games haven't actually been getting tougher or anything over the 20 years or so it's been coming out. Side note for a second. In regards to Crispin and the rest of the Blueberry Academy Elite Four members, I will say that they put up more of a fight than I thought they would, in comparison to the base game fights. That being said though, I still completely destroyed them with little effort. The only thing that made them a somewhat enjoyable fight was the fact that they were tailor-made to be harder with BTC elements, like actual hell items and using the double battle format. But other than that, they're still all type specialists, and so they can all still be handled with about just 2 Pokemon, 3 if you need it. On top of the fact that by the time the DLC came out, about a year later or so, you probably have a bunch of level 100 waiting around to be used. So the DLC Elite Four was already set up to be cursed up anyway. And look, I know some of you are like, of course it's going to be easy if you use your level 100 Mons. And to that I say, well, when else am I going to use them? I had some of these Pokemon for years and they're collecting dust in Pokemon Home. So if I want to use them in the DLC, I'm going to use them. It's not my fault that the game's highest level Pokemon is Pesharant at level 88. That's on GameFreak for not realizing that people have literal level 100 legendaries that can be brought out at any time after becoming champion. Back to my main point. Gym leaders and Elite Four members' character designs blatantly tell you what type of you'll be going up against next. Like geez, I wonder what type of Pokemon Marlin uses. Oh boy, how would I ever know? Judging by the swimming goggles, the blue aesthetic, and that he has these stupid fish types on, what else could he be? Not grass type, that's for sure. Then look at dude's team. Fighting a team of 3 to 6 water types is not fun when I can just solo the fight with a single grass or electric type. Or what about Byron, the steel specialist in Gen 4? You just need a fighting or fire type to destroy his team that he is so proud of. And they wonder why a team role has to be the one to save the region every time. Cause these bozos will get washed against the evil team of legendaries. They ain't got no variety here. When you have me going against a gym or Elite Four member and I only really need to use maybe 2 Pokemon minimum to win against them, the actual challenge of the battle goes out the dang window. Kahili is getting bodied by Pom Pom style Oricorio, and there's nothing she's gonna do about it. So as she watches in horror as my little electric cheerleader bird uses her Pokemon as practice for her audition for the next Bring It On movie, she ain't gonna be able to stop it. Come on, Kahili. I know they just threw you into the game at the last minute, but I need you to be better than this. You are an Elite Four member, dang it. Listen, it's not like Type Specialist isn't a cool concept, but as you, the actual player, play more Pokemon games or just other RPGs in general, you're going to know that you'll need so-and-so for this gym and so-and-so for that gym, because you already know what to look for. And with Pokemon being a very simple turn-based game, at least in regards to the actual main game and not BTC, Type Specialists just make the games way easier. Most of the time, you can get a pretty good idea what the next gym leader is going to be based on their name, their design, the city itself, or simply going into their gym. For example, look at Brawly. What? No, I said Brawly, not Broly. Listen, from the name alone, you should have picked up that he's the fighting type gym leader, so you already know what type to bring to counter him. Or I'm heading to the Artisan Gym, known for his flowers, and then I meet the gym leader who is dressed ridiculous, has a literal vine whip on his hip, green thorny hair, and his name is Brassius. So I'm predicting that the gym leader uses grass types. Why? I don't know, educated guess. Pokemon games are just predictable when you understand the patterns, which make the challenge itself a little less fun. Well, Sai, isn't the point of the Pokemon games to be easy and predictable so that everyone can get through the games easier and not have to worry about bringing their wrong type to a gym or Elite Four battle? Yeah, sure, at first when the games are first starting out. But look at the RPG gaming industry as a whole. More and more games are evolving their formula, trying to innovate their battle systems while still maintaining the appeal that first got their audience into the games in the first place. With Pokemon, on the other hand, the formula has been the same for so long that its mold got mold. Yeah, they tried to fancy up with a battle with gimmicks like Megas, Z-Move, Dynamax, and Terra, but in the end, that didn't change anything when it comes to the actual main game, which for a lot of us casual fans is the main part of the game that we like. Let me give you an example. In Scarlet and Violet, you can freely fight in any gym in any order, right? And in those games, there's a mechanic that lets you change your Pokemon to another type outside of its original one, correct? So why is it that when I fought my last gym, being a good friend Brassius, he sends out a level 17 Sudowoodo against my level 60 Cerulege, which is already a red flag from a gameplay perspective about how Scarlet and Violet should have had level scaling, but that's a different topic for a different day. Brassius should be fired for that, honestly. You're technically my 8th gym battle. You should be on my level, not the level of a schoolboy fresh out of trainer school. But then this guy had the audacity to tear the Sudowoodo, the rock type Pokemon, into a grass type. You wanna know why? Because he's the grass type specialist and he needs to use grass types. Duh! In a game like Scarlet and Violet, you need some type of level scaling to counter the player going out of your attended order, and 2, you need to utilize your gimmick in a less obvious way. Because after a couple of gym battles, you realize that every one of these type specialists in Scarlet and Violet are going to tear the last Pokemon into whatever type they are based off of, and can just easily use the same Pokemon you were using beforehand, use the same moves you were using, and just easily counter the stupid AI, whose bright idea is to tear it into the type that it was going to get itself one-shotted by. This happens the whole game. Hell, I had a hard time battling against the frame rate of the game more than I did any actual battle in Scarlet and Violet. They're probably going to ask me, well, what can Pokemon do to improve the overall battle experience in the main games when facing gym leaders in Elite Four? Well, here's the hard truth of the matter. Mainline Pokemon games are never going to change the actual battle formula of the games. Let's just all come to the realization of that. But, it's not like we can't spice up how we use and show it off though. Might I introduce you to the concept of theme-centered teams. It's not a new concept or anything, but I find the idea of gyms and Elite Four teams being centered around specific themes and ideas a lot more compelling to play against and design. Like you aren't limited to only using flying type Pokemon and need your name to be based around the sky or whatever. Themes allow you to broaden the scope of ideas and gimmicks that you can give a gym leader or Elite Four member. Hell, even a champion if you want to. If the idea can work and you get the Pokemon for it, why not use it? They'll even allow players to be more prepared to fight mixed level opponents, like say the champion of the region for example, or mostly everybody online. Like listen, you are probably still going to steamroll the champion like Gita here, but at least the challenge to get to her was a lot more fun this time around, since you fought a wide variety of different style gym leaders and Elite Four members. This concept at least brings in a breath of fresh air to the same formula we all come to know and at least can add some new level of difficulty if used correctly. So players aren't just using one or two Pokemon to feint every one of the gym leader's Pokemon, or at least stop them from just spamming the A button on the same super effective move every time. You can have a gym based on Pirates. Isn't that just a water type gym? No! You're not thinking, viewers. You're too stuck on water types, but I got you. Boom, look at this. This team consists of only 2 water types, while the rest are different. A pirate needs a treasure, Golden Go, Steel Ghost type. A pirate ship needs an anchor, right? Gale Mines, Ghost Grass type. Canis, you say? I got you, Mag Mortar, Fire type. What's something that most pirate movies like to throw in to really test the pirates? The Kraken, and that can easily be Malamar or Artillery. Since the Kraken can be depicted as either or, we can just use either or here. But 3 out of the 4 Pokemon I mentioned you wouldn't think to be on a team related to pirates, because in normal Pokemon games, they would solely just be using water and dual water types. But I hope you're all thinking about all the possibility this idea opens up for us. Now we go to the route of actually utilizing a theme to its fullest potential here. You say you like Christmas and it's your favorite holiday? Well, me too, Merry Christmas. Here's a team based on a holiday for you. You got Santa Claus, lumps of coal, a Christmas tree, even Jack Frost himself on the team. Once you start opening up your mind and can think of a topic that can work for a gym or Elite Four, the possibilities are endless. You're not stuck in having to only use fire types or dual fire types simply because you're the fire type gym leader. There are over 1,000 Pokemon now. There isn't a reason why Pokemon can't move a little bit away from type specialists in favor of a theme specialist for a generation or 2. Pokemon games have a lot of Pokemon based on Japanese folklore, so why not make a team based around that? This gives the player a chance to fight a mixed team that they are not prepared for and even learn about Japanese yokai in the process. Like, how many Pokemon fans actually know that Weavile is based on the Kamatachi, a Japanese yokai that is based on a weasel that has sickle-like claws? Or that Mawile is based on a Fudakushi Onna, a yokai based on a woman with 2 mouths, one normal one and one in the back of the head. You can easily educate players by having the gym leader talk about these things, maybe before or after the battle.
But wait, there's more.
Plus, a bonus with theme teams is that it forces the player to think more in battle and keeps them guessing about what Pokemon they have to fight next. You're not one-shotting a rock type, to then one-shot another rock type right after that, to then one-shot another rock type, again simply because you're fighting the rock type gym leader with your fast-hitting fighting type Pokemon. Pokemon gyms are already at a disadvantage being based on one typing, but going up against an actual human player who can level their Pokemon to a higher degree than theirs, heal freely, and have the option to change Pokemon before the gym leader sends out their next Pokemon is another thing putting gyms at a disadvantage. Unlike in other JRPGs, healing and overleveling wouldn't be such an issue as most games have other mechanics in play. Boss fights might have their own gimmicks to think about, and of course, they have options that let you change the difficulty of the games. If you want to overlevel and completely destroy easy mode, you can. But if you want to overlevel just to stand a chance in nightmare mode, then that's also an option. Since Pokemon refuses to put level difficulty in these games, and has the gym leaders not switch out when they're at a clear disadvantage, not somewhat match the current highest Pokemon level that the player can possibly have at that time, and they're running teams of 3 to 4 Pokemon before post-game, it's no wonder that little Timmy at the age of 10 is floating the gym leaders like an omelet with his max EV trained Charizard. And listen, we can have many different styles of teams with this system. Hell, you can have a team that solely focuses on stats like speed or defense. You can have gyms that utilize stall teams and stat effects to make players really suffer. Or, even better, utilize the gimmick of the region. I'm looking at you, Gen 5. Listen, how fun would it have been to fight a whole gym based around triple and rotation battles? You know, the new mechanic that Gen 5 introduced? That would have been way more interesting than the same single battle matches we always get. Like with double battles, triple battles bring way more strategies into the mix, because now you have to account for things like the positions of not only your own Pokemon, but the opponents as well. Adding on top of that with the shift mechanic, you have to anticipate if you'll be hitting your intended target or the target your opponent wants you to hit. Even adding more on top of that, the fact that you have certain moves that work differently now because of this style of gameplay is also a great thing. Triple battles may not be the most viable thing for something like VGC or anything, but for the main game, it would have been way more fun to battle against a gym leader using this mechanic. If GameFreak isn't going to change the difficulty of the main games at all, and leaving a hard stuff to DLC like the Indigo Disc battles, then at least they can do is spice up the gyms and leave 4 members of the main games. Like I said, hardcore, die-hard fans who eat, sleep, and breathe Pokemon are going to buy and play the games no matter what and love it. No matter how stale, boring, buggy they seem to be, they will love the hell out of it. Pokemon isn't like other franchises where if they make any major changes, they may lose sales or see a decline in the player base. No, Pokemon can put out a very glitchy and bug-filled $60 game on a one very less powerful system and still make more money than a well-polished $60 game that is available on multiple platforms. Mainline Pokemon games are not going to lose money, so they can take more risks and get away with it, cause you know, Pokemon. So is it bad that I want Pokemon gyms and Elite 4 members to have some type of freshness again? After 20 years of the same formula, am I, as someone who generally likes Pokemon, asking too much for just a bit of change here? Is it wrong for me to ask GameFreak to make a gym based around, I don't know, the Chinese Zodiac, for example? Wait, no! That's the Firestarter theory! Pokemon fans hate that! I mean something like this. Is it really that bad if Koga were to pop up somewhere in the future? Would it really be asking too much to get him an actual ninja-based team instead of a strictly poison one now? Or Roxy, being able to have a rock band team now with all the new mons that were added since her game? I don't think I'm asking too much here. At the end of the day, I simply just want more variety and spice back into the games. And type specialists, to me, sadly has overstayed their welcome for someone who mainly played Pokemon for the main game and nothing else. Maybe have them leave for a generation or two, then bring them back mixed in with theme specialists. That would be fun. So enough of my ramblings. Do you agree or disagree with what I said? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're down there, let me know what kind of theme gym or Elite 4 member you would like to see in a future Pokemon game. Or even better, what type of theme gym would you run? Also, if you like these type of discussions, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can see even more videos like these. Please leave me a like on your way down to the comments, and I'll see you all in another video. Peace.